It was on this day, August 9th, 2021, that I'm actually summarizing 2 videos from the last 2 weeks, now that I'm actually home. So, really quickly to touch on what happened. I recorded these videos on my phone as they happened. So, when I finished a book and when I bought these books, we're gonna get there, I recorded videos on my phone, but the quality isn't great, and when I tried to upload them, it was kind of glitchy, and you can't hear me. My microphone's really quiet on my phone, so I decided that now that I'm actually home for 1 day, I'd leave tomorrow again, I would summarize my previous 2 videos. So going in reverse order, because that's the order I usually go in, though I really shouldn't. On August 5th, 2021, I finished Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. McClellan. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I finished this book. That video was 4 minutes long because it was 18 minutes until midnight, my birthday. It was 18 minutes until my birthday, and I had to wake up at like 6 in the morning the next day. So, I recorded a 4-minute video of my review. This is going to be a little bit longer than 4 minutes, but I don't have that much more to say. I just have 4 main points. The first one, because it's the name of the trilogy is the Powder Mage trilogy, so I figure we should talk about the Powder Mages. I just want to say that I really liked the Marked. They're called the Marked, to just clarify that the people who can use magic via gunpowder, we call them Marked, and they are really cool. I really like them. I want to see them more, which that segues into my next point, but there were definitely some really awesome moments, especially on, like, in chapter 2? I seriously think it was chapter 2 of the book. We saw Thomas just nope a bullet into the ground. Like, someone shot a bullet at him and he was just like, just smashed it straight down in the ground and was like, you can't touch this. It was really great. So just, the Marked overall are very interesting, and I really want to see them more. This other type of magic I really liked was the Knacked. I actually never thought of that before. It's a very simple idea if you really think about it, but just the Knacked, just having that knack, it's really cool. Some of them are very specific and interesting. So yeah, those 2 are really cool, and also the fact that both of those can see the else. It's also an interesting concept, is like being able to reach for the else. Honestly, it made me think of Stranger Things, but not that much, just a little bit. Just a little bit. The Privileged and the Pretty, shrug. I didn't actually have that much interest in them. I was just like, okay, they're doing their thing. For all I know, they have like unlimited power. So, you know, those I was more shrugged, but I'm very interested. Whoopsie. I'm very interested in the Marked and the Knacked, but especially the Marked. I want to see the Marked do more. Segue. That is maybe the one criticism I have on this book, is that it could have gone deeper in some things, especially the world building. We heard a lot about Kez and Adro, but we never really heard much about Navi and I think it's Deliv. We heard like some passing comments, especially from Taniel. Sorry, I could not remember the name for a second. Especially from Taniel, but yeah, I think there could have been more. There was a lot of world building about like Outopest and like, you know, all these tiny things, but there still could have been more. I wanted to know how like the university gets mentioned like a fair bit, because one of the main people of the council is part of the university. But other than knowing there's a library and that it's huge, like it's freaking huge, all we know is that it's a university. You know, there's things like that. It's very picky, I know, I'm sorry. But there's the tiny things like that, and then there's the things like the other nations that I want to know about. And there's this phrase, all of the 9. For a while I was like, are there 9 nations? I only see 4 here. 4? Yeah, I only see 4 nations here. So that might have been me speed reading and not realizing what was going on. But just learning more stuff, going a little bit deeper into that world building and understanding things. Again, for all I know, I don't understand what limits privileged or pretty or that stuff. I don't. For all I know, they have unlimited power. Especially the pretty. But, you know, there's that. I was really interested in the Hound Hunt and the festival, but I didn't learn all that much about it because the Hound Hunt got interrupted by a very interesting plot line. But, you know, just those tiny things. That's very interesting to me, and I love to take it all in. And yay. But this book was like kind of a starter, which, when you think about it, it's the first book in a trilogy. That's kind of how trilogies go. With Sanderson and Butcher and most everything I've ever read. The first book is like the setup book. The second book and the third book are the ones that get really, really good. Until it's like, yes! The world feels complete and whole. Notably, there is a prequel trilogy to this series. I think it's a prequel. It might be a sequel, but I'm pretty sure it's a prequel trilogy to this series. And prequel trilogies are known for world building. So, for all I know, that will definitely maybe get resolved later. But for now, I've only read the first book. So all I can tell you is about the first book. That is my only complaint really about the book, other than a somewhat out of nowhere sudden plotline that's kind of felt abrupt. Wasn't so smooth, but it worked out in the end, so it was fine. Maybe a little bit more deeper, but I think a lot of the moments that could have gone deep was spent with the character development or character likability is more what I'm going for here. I really liked a lot of the characters. I think my favorite character right now is Olam. I don't know if that's typical or normal, but I really like Olam. He's a very likable character. I did like Thomas a lot. Like, I really did. Adamat was actually kind of in the middle. Taniel was kind of in the middle. I really like Capole. Bo is meh. But it's really interesting. So smooth. So Smith. Not so smooth. Sue Smith, or however you say it, I'm sorry. It's kind of in the middle. Adamat's a little bit above him, but not much. I think Adamat, Olam, Thomas are my top two. I don't know why, but I really like both of them. And, oh, what's the name of the woman? I don't remember her name, but there's the maid woman near the beginning of the book. She's also interesting. She has a very wavy development, but it's on purpose and very clear. She's stressed is the easiest way to put it. So she's interesting as well. And my book is all gross. This is what I get for taking my books on trips. They get all ruined. There's something sticky on it. Anyway, yeah, so that covers magic, that covers the how deep the world building goes, that covers the characters, and I kind of alluded to the plot. The plot is overall very interesting. I love that right off the bat you start off with like the big, you start with the big thing and you're kind of on the recline in a way. And the recline has these spikes, but the big thing kind of happened off page at the beginning of the book. You know? I really liked that. It's kind of weird. I've never read something that had that kind of pattern before, but there's obviously a lot going on here. There's a big deal. There's a lot of characters, and there's a mystery plot with Adamat. That's part of why I'm torn with Adamat, because he's the one who's like working through the mystery, and I'm trying to follow him. Sometimes it's a little hard, but it's very interesting overall. And other than that sudden spike in the plot, it had me interested along the way. At first, I was only reading maybe 2 or 3 chapters at a time, but towards the end, I was binge reading as much as I could, but I was leaving the hotel a lot, and I didn't want to carry this with me, and so it was hard to binge read. these last few days. But I did finish it, again, 18 minutes before my birthday, but I did finish it. It was really good. So, it's most of what I have to say. I'm especially looking forward to the second book and very, very much the third book. I just want to say the third book cover is beautiful, so I'm excited for that. Also the fighting. There's some intense fights. Alright. And then my other video, which was on, oh god, I don't even know what day it was. Let's listen to it.
I technically didn't buy these. It was on July 31st.
Okay, it was on that day, July 31st, that I bought 2 new books in Texas because, here's a quick comment. Well, here's 2 comments. The first comment is that I know I said I wouldn't buy any more books. Here's my excuse. I didn't buy these. My family bought these for me for my early birthday. They were a few days late there, but you know. So my family is the one who bought these because they have used bookstores in Texas. Guess what? My city, which is a pretty big city, like I'm in a fairly decent sized city right now, could be a capital, it's not, has no used bookstores. Now, I don't know why. I have no idea why. When you search used bookstores on Google Maps or any other application, you come up with gaming stores that you can like buy a shelf of gaming books on, or nerd related books, some comic books. No used bookstores. We have Barnes & Noble, and that is it. And we have a religious bookstore. I don't know why, but we have a religious bookstore, and we have Barnes & Noble. So, when there was a half-price books in Texas, they were like, we'll take you to half-price books for your early birthday. So, I got 2 books at half-price books. I was looking at quite a few. There were a lot of hardcover Dresden books. I know I talked to multiple Dresden fans about how the hardcover Dresden books are really expensive and hard to come by because they're not printed anymore. There were a lot at half-price books, so I guess if you want to collect them, you should just jump between a bunch of half-price books. You'll probably find a lot of them. I found maybe like a third of the series in hardcover was at that one store. Anyway, the first book I got, for better or for worse, is Rise of Empire by Michael J. Sullivan, Volume 2 of Real Revelations. Why for better or for worse? Well, Theft of Swords, the first book in the series, I have on Kindle and audiobook. And because I bought this in paperback, it means that eventually, someday, I'm gonna buy the first book in paperback to match them all up. So basically I'll own 1 book in all 3 formats for no reason. So, oops, that's what I get for going ahead. But, you know, I went ahead and got this in paperback because it was there, it was half price, and my family was paying, so I'll take it. Just one day I'm gonna have to buy the first book. And the other book I bought, because why not? It was actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. It actually has this feathered pattern on the pages on purpose. It's kind of cool. Freya. Norse Mythology does really interest me, and it is a small book, so I went ahead and got it. I might actually read it soon, maybe, but if not, then I won't. Given that I don't read either of these are both going to stay here at my house and not go with me when I move. If you haven't noticed, my room is a complete freaking mess right now because I'm moving. All my posters are down and everything. It's stressful. I'm supposed to finish packing my room tonight or tomorrow before I leave. Yeah. It's hard to... It looks like it's a mess and looks like I haven't packed everything, but I swear, my closet, all of this over here that y'all never saw, and all of this here that y'all have never seen is all packed. And oh my goodness, there's a lot of stuff. I threw a lot of stuff in the trash, I'll be honest. I'm a hoarder. I feel like that kind of explains my book collecting, is that I'm a hoarder. But yeah, alrighty. Those are my 2 updates that we missed. There's one more update. Guys, one more update. The what I have been reading and what I will read part of every video. I have been reading Journeyer. I actually read all of The Great Salt in Journeyer. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when I was reading Journeyer. It's been a while. I read Baghdad like back in early spring, I think. Anyway, Baghdad was the name of the last chapter. The name of this chapter was The Great Salt. I read the whole chapter. I am now on Balk. I guess that's how you say that. And this chapter is really short, so I was thinking about reading it like today or tomorrow. Whenever I have time. It's like the shortest chapter in the whole book. Chapters tend to be freaking huge in this book. One of the chapters is like a solid 1/8 of the book is one chapter. I want to show how big this chapter is. Hold on. It just keeps going. Okay, there it was. Come on. Come on. Oh my god, it's huge. Every time I go through it. Alright. Whoop! That is one chapter, right in the middle. That is one whole chapter. It's freaking huge. So, anyway, this is the book I've been battling for a year now. I honestly should be a lot further than I am. I could have been reading this a lot more, but I haven't been, because I'm lazy. But, yeah, this is my monster book. It's a little tiny bit smaller than Oathbringer, for perspective, but it is close. It's definitely less than 50,000 words smaller than Oathbringer. So, this is a big book. It's a bit hard to get through. Most of the, first part of it's about sex, because it's an idiot teenager teenaging back in the 1400s. So, that's part of why I'm going a little bit slow. It's because every few pages, it's him doing something, things. So, yeah. It's kind of weird when you're reading it in public and one of those scenes happens. It's like, why? It's awkward. Even though nobody knows you're reading it. It's just one of those weird things. Also, nothing that much actually happens, especially when all the words are written in Farsi, not English, but still weird. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it'll be harsh and violent. Though, usually, again, it's not directly violent. It's hinty violent. Anyway, that's part of why I'm going slow. But I could be going faster, and I should be going faster, because I'm supposed to have finished this book by now, but I haven't. But it's dense, so, and there's a lot of words that aren't in English. A lot of the times I forget what it meant because I'm reading it too slow. Oopsie. I'm working on this book, is the point. So, working on this book still a year later. But I have been making progress. The important part. The other book I'll be reading, not so shockingly, I didn't grab it off my bookshelf like an idiot, is The Crimson Campaign, which is the second book of Powder Mage. I'll be picking it up right off the bat. So, hooray. And that should be everything. I move in 10 days, technically 9 days, and again I'm leaving for my next trip tomorrow. Lovely. So, all of this will be packed. I truly don't know if y'all will see me again. I don't think I'll be finishing a book in 9 days. 8 days. I don't think I'll be finishing a book in 8 days with everything I have going on. So, I may see you at my next home. Bye bye.